I know French conjugation can be so overwhelming and confusing, right? I'll show you. Bonjour tout le monde, I'm Cassy, your French tutor, so you can discover France the French way. And now is the perfect time to give this video a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel if you want like simple ways to actually remember French vocabulary and grammar. If you feel that there are way too many rules in French conjugation, I feel you. But that's why I created a course, Les Bases du Français, to help you make it make sense. Or that's what I want for you, okay? And today I will show you one lesson from the course for free, okay? You have the lesson, you take it, and if you want more, the link of the course is in the description. Alors t'es prêt? On y va. So we have 3 groups in French, 3 groups of verbs. The first one is the easiest one, it is the regular one. All the verbs in the infinitive form, they end with ER, ER. Les verbes se terminent par ER. And this group actually contains like 90% of French verbs. So it's pretty easy. One exception though, because there are always exceptions. Aller, so to go, aller, it ends with ER, but it's not part of the first group because it's irregular. Other than that, other than aller, every time you see a verb ending with ER, ER, belongs to the first group. So, I'm gonna give you a few. And yeah, they're pretty common. Of course, the verbs I'm giving you are the most frequent I could find as examples. So, for example, aimer. Aimer is to like or to love, aimer. Parler, to speak. Parler. Try to repeat after me. Aimer. Parler, ouais. Jouer, jouer. Demander, demander, to ask. Penser, to think, penser. Et se lever. So see the reflexive here? Donc le verbe pronominal, se lever. That ends with ER, so it's part of the first group. To get up. So how do you conjugate them? Well, you take off the ending. So you only keep the stem, take off the ending, for example, aimer, you take off ER, and then you add the ending that corresponds to the subject. So we will use pronouns, and that's why they're so important, but you can use, it can belong to a subject that is, I don't know, as I said before in the introduction, if you remember, le professeur, the teacher. It won't be he, but corresponds to the same category. Donc, how do we do? We add E, so the letter E, if the subject is je, or J with an apostrophe if the verb starts with a vowel. For example, j'aime. So you take aimer, take off ER, and you add I, donc la lettre E, and it becomes j'aime. And it is as simple as that. You have a present verb. Or a verb in present tense. Better. Avec tu, you add ES. ES. With tu, keep in mind that you always need S at the end. You won't pronounce it, but you need it. Okay? But you don't pronounce it, but you need it. Avec il, elle ou on, you add I. Donc la lettre E. Si, j'aime, tu aimes, il aime. With nous, you will add ONS. And it becomes nous aimons. If you don't know how ON is pronounced, then there is a course about pronunciation that you can take. Vous, EZ, IZ. And you pronounce it E. Donc vous aimez, for example. Et il, elle, plural, the verb will end with E-N-T, E-N-T. But it is silent. Because if you know a bit of pronunciation, you know that E-N together makes en. But here you don't pronounce it. So it is not elles aiment, but elles aiment. It's only here for conjugation purposes. Okay? elles aiment. And that's it. You know how to conjugate. Well, at least for first group. But it is the easiest. Careful though, because of pronunciation, there are verbs, they change a teeny tiny bit, okay? The stem. So, you know, you have the ending, ER part, talking about the other part, the beginning of the word. For example, verbs ending with GER, so G-E-R. Because we want to keep that J sound, but with on, for example, ONS, G et on, well, or G and O makes go, okay? The G only makes the J sound in front of the letter E or the letter I, donc la lettre E ou la lettre I. All right, then you need to add an extra E to make that J sound. So, for example, instead of nous mangeons, that would be nous mangeons. You add that extra E to make the J sound. It is about the same idea for verbs ending with CER, donc C-E-R. Because with nous, still, C et O, we make co. But that's not what we want, right? We want the S, avancer, for example, to go forward, avancer. So we will add une cédille, you know, like in français. That's how we keep the S sound instead of que. Another one, okay? It is when you have the letter I, donc E, then a consonant, and then ends with ER. So for example, peser, to weight, jeter, to throw away, or acheter, to buy. What's gonna happen is that the I, donc le E, before the consonant needs to make the E sound. For that, two possibilities. And unfortunately, you need to learn them. I'm sorry. So, two possibilities. That can be you double the consonant. For example, j'appelle. So, the verb appeler, to call, will become j'appelle. Ou the verb acheter, then you need an accent instead of double consonant to achète. But careful, because with nous et vous, only nous et vous. So for all the other subjects, all the other pronouns, what I'm telling you is true, but for nous et vous, that will change. And, well, you don't need that A sound. So you just take the stem and add the ending and that's it. So what we just learned before. Voilà, true everywhere except with nous et vous. That's it. Nous et vous, normal rule. With all the rest, you need that S sound before the consonant. Okay, now it's your turn. Now is your turn. Let's see if you understand and if you remember. So, le chocolat. Et le verbe, c'est aimer. The verb is aimer, to like. Le chocolat. You can write it down if you want. Tu, français. Donc parler, to speak. Parler, tu, français. Elle, que c'est une bonne idée. The verb is penser. Elle, que c'est une bonne idée. Nous, vers 8 heures. And the verb is se lever. Careful, c'est un pronominal. Attention. Vous, l'addition. Et le verbe, c'est demander. To ask for. Les enfants au football. Et le verbe, c'est jouer. Donc, to play. Alors, j'aime le chocolat. Donc, aimer, take off the ER, you add the ending. J'aime le chocolat. Tu parles français. As I said, always, always S. Tu parles français. Elle pense que c'est une bonne idée. Elle pense que c'est une bonne idée. Nous levons. Remember? Nous levons. Because you need the reflexive pronoun. Nous levons vers 8 heures. Vous demandez l'addition. EZ à la fin. Et les enfants jouent au football. Careful, because joue, that ENT à la fin, at the end, you don't pronounce it. Makes more sense now, right? If you want to discover the other lessons and the other sections and everything there is in Les Bases de la Conjugaison, it's all in the link in the description. And if you want to discover other courses that I created, for example, the one about grammar, I recommend you watch this video next. Donc à dans 2 semaines. Salut!